Okay, greeted learners. My name is Mr. Mario. I'm a mathematics teacher from the secondary school in the Regional Education District. Today we are going to discuss the following two: factorization of trinomials. The important thing that we must start with is the general form of a quadratic trinomial, which is ax squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c. Now, when we talk of a trinomial, we're talking of an expression or algebraic expression with three terms. We are having the first term, the middle term or second term, and the last term. There are also three types of trinomials that you are expected to factorize. The first type is in the form ax squared plus or minus bx plus c. The last term is positive. It will always be positive. Type number 2, ax squared plus or minus bx. Our last term is negative. Our last term is negative. Now the condition for type 1 and type 2 are the following. For type 1, the value of a will always be equal to positive 1. And the value of b will always be equal to value of a for type 2 will always be equal to 1. The last type, we have ax squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c. The condition for type 3, the value of a is not equal to positive 1. It's not equal to positive 1. That is the condition for type number 3. But for today, we are only going to focus on type number 1, only for today. Focusing on type 1. Example 1, type 1. Factorize x squared plus 2x plus 1. We are given a trinomial that we must factorize. Our trinomial is having the last term, and the last term is positive. Our last term is positive. It means we are aware that it is type number 1 according to what we have discussed now. Our focus for today is only type number 1. Now, what do we do if we are to factorize? This is an expression we start with equal sign. And then we have two brackets. Now we have the first term. Our first term is x squared. So we will have x, and then we also write x here. And then we go to our last term. Our last term is positive 1. Now on the side, you will now have factors. You can use your scale page. Factors of 1. Let's look at the factors of 1. The factors of 1 is 1 and 1. The factors of 1. Now, your factors of 1, what we want to do is we want to add or subtract these factors such that they give us the middle term, which is positive 2. In order for us to have that, it means we will now say positive 1 plus positive 1 is equals to positive 2. Positive 2 is our target, which is the middle term. We're having the middle term. Now, in completing our brackets, we will now take the signs of positive 1 and positive 1. It means we are having positive 1 plus positive 1. So our trinomial has now been factorized. The second example, example 2. Let us factorize x squared plus 8x plus 15. Our trinomial is also having the last term as positive. That means we are still busy with type 1. This is still type 1, like we said. Equal sign, it's an expression, two brackets. First term is x squared. We are going to have x multiplied by x. Now we focus on the last term. Our last term is 15. On the side or on your pathway, you must find now the factors of 15. Factors of 15, 15, 1, 5, 3. We can group them into possible pairs. The first possible pair is 15 and 1. The second pair that we have 5 and 3. We have 5 and 3. Remember what we said. With these pairs of factors, you want to add them or subtract them such that they give us the middle term, which is the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x is positive 8. We want to get the coefficient of x when we add or subtract them. Now let's test this one. 15 plus 1, we get 16. In the middle term, this coefficient is not 16, but it is 8. It means this pair will not assist us. Even if we can say 15 subtract 1, we will get positive 14. And then when we get positive 14, we compare it with the coefficient of the middle term, which is positive 8. It means this pair is not assisting us. So we can forget about this pair. The second pair, if we say positive 5 plus positive 3, we get an answer that we are looking for, which is positive 8. That is the middle term. Now we can complete our factorization. We have positive 5, we take its side as it is, positive 5, positive 3. Now the other thing that I wanted to emphasize is that when your value of c is positive, your bracket will have the same sign. If the value of c is positive, you will have the same sign, which is positive 3 and positive 5 and positive 3. Then we have factorized our trinomial. Example 3. Still on type 1. Factorize x squared minus 2x plus y. The first term is x squared. We will have x and x. Our last term is positive 1. We must find the factors of positive 1. Factors of 1, we have 1 and 1. The coefficient of the middle term is negative 2. So if the coefficient of the middle term is negative 2, we play around with the signs. If we say positive 1 plus positive 1, we are going to get positive 2. So it means that is not the middle term. So we have to introduce negative sign. So we will now say negative 1 subtract negative 1. Then we get negative 2. Minus 1 subtract minus 1 is minus 2. So we are getting the middle term. In other words, you add them or subtract them in such a way that they give you the coefficient of the middle term. Now, in completing our factorization, we take this signs as they are. We have -1 and we also have -1. The question you might be asking yourself is that, is the order important? The order is not important. For example, x minus 1, x minus 1, still the same thing. The same as x plus 5 and x plus 3. We can write x plus 3 and end with x plus 5, commutative law of multiplication. The last example on type number 1. Example 4, factorize x squared minus 6x minus plus 9. We check the last term. Our last term is positive. We are still busy with type 1 of the trinomials that we discussed. Now let's factorize our trinomial. We have x squared. We will now have x and x. Our last term is positive 9. Remember I said on the rough work or on the side, you will try to find the factors of 9. Factors of 9. We have 9 and 1. All the possible factors. We also have 3 and 3. Let's group them into pairs. I can start with this pair, pair number 1. If I add positive 9 and positive 1, I will get positive 10. That is not the middle term. Or if I have positive 9 subtract 1, I will get positive 8. That is not the middle term. So this pair is not assisting us. So what we can rather do, let's try pair number 2. On pair number 2, if we say -3 and -3, we will get the middle term, which is -6. Then when we complete our factorization, it means we take this signs as they are, -3, -3. Your activity for this week, learners, for type 1, factorize the following. The first one, x squared plus 5x plus 6. Number 2, x squared plus 9x plus 20. Number 3, x squared minus 11x plus 18x. Number 4, x squared minus 13x plus 42. This is the activity of learners for this week. This is where our lesson will end until we meet next time. Thank you.